alongside Mountford and Bailey Rogers, looking to crumb the ruck work of Eastland, who's up against Branchy. Umpire goes to ground at the opening bounce, and Schleith gets the first possession for South. Tumbles them towards half forward. Awkward bounce. Sits up nicely in the end for Main. Little hand pass over the top might set something up here for the Dogs. Comes back to Polson. Ducks around one. He can straighten up and fire now. In fact, he goes around the corner and he does it beautifully. The Dogs have scored inside 20 seconds.
And it's on here in the forward line. I think, is that Hayden Schleith involved? But Claremont have definitely not liked that opening goal in the first 20 seconds from South Fremantle.
Just the ball movement, Schleith getting involved early. And they hit the scoreboard.
Very unorthodox kick as well by Polson. Thought that he'd go for a drop punt. And as we see here, he just straighten his hips up towards goal and then decides to duck inside and kick the banana. And why wouldn't you if you get that result?
Luke Polson, 21 on Wednesday. A belated birthday present. Couldn't have come any better or quicker. As Dave Lindsay suggested, first 20 seconds of the game. And the Tigers, shell shot from that opening move forward. Rogers tracking it but can't get his hands on the footy. A scrap for it, going after his Mountford. Bolton goes off the ground, makes some metres up towards half forward. Ground level ball. Manuel's kick into the pocket. It's not bad. And I've got some height and attack today. West Love, we touched on him in the pre-game. Sort of kicked a very good goal against East Fremantle last week, and good ball use by the Tigers going forward.
Much better ball use, and as Ash Prescott said pre-game, he wanted to win the contest and he would be disappointed with the first 20 seconds, but from the second bounce they've made amends, and hopefully West Love can convert here.
Two debutants today for Claremont, Jasper Peace and Jack Musica. And right behind the kick, West Love, always hooking that ball off to the right-hand side. First score of the afternoon for the Tigers.
He's got the sort of name that you want to say his first name and his surname, don't you? You can't just call him Love. He's got to be West Love with a name like that. So kicking in, starting off Chad Pearson today for South Fremantle. He goes straight up the middle. Outstretched hand of Bolton gets in the way. Mountford rides one bump into a tackle, coughs up the hand pass. And a chance perhaps here for Chase Bourne to set up something for the Dogs. Awkward footy for Bletchenden, and he worries Weston out of it. Hand pass misses the target. Here is Musica, South Fremantle product, playing for Claremont, having spent some time in the amateurs in between his visit to the Bulldogs and now the Dogs. They go wide. Hand pass back into play by Turley, and then that's just walked over in the end by Rayson, and the umpire says it's okay. It's tossed back into play in front of the Dogs bench.
South Freo would definitely want to reset this with a stoppage because they had a risky kick out off their half-back that didn't pay off because their numbers didn't follow them.
The stoppage, Eastland in front. Schleith can't free the arms. Held up well by Mountford, who was holding on for dear life. Just outside the 50, Claremont's attacking end. Eastland with hands on it. Rogers couldn't take it away. Mountford in the grasp by Branchy. More question marks, I guess, against Claremont heading into today, as opposed to South Fremantle. What sort of character can they show after last week's drubbing? Hurried kick forward, came from Weston. Quickly repelled out of defence, Salmeri. The juggler, good mark taken by Bolton. Try Bolton, game number 155, averaging 26 disposals so far this year. At least one Frederick's out playing footy today. Here he is now. The Guru. Frederick inside 50. Wrapped up was Winder. South over to clear, and Schleith up towards the middle.
He's found Strom on the end of it. This is Zach. We're used to him playing up forward, not so much his brother, but his brother might be the target with the short pass here. No. Zach goes longer with the left boot into wide open space. Benning back there defending for Claremont. Grabbed a piece of jumper there just for a moment against Florenka. The umpire either didn't see it or ignored it. Throw in alongside the left-hand behind post. Move the ball quickly, the Dogs. Would be a concern for Claremont early. The defenders will need to lock down one-on-one right now. Zach Strom does a lot of work in the forward line. The ruck duties. Kelly lobs it back to Main. Clever sidestep, gets around one. Hooks it back on goal. South have got the first two. Sharp start from the home team.
We spoke about Claremont having to put pressure on the ball carriers throughout the whole game, and just in that instance we could see that Claremont were just sagging off a little bit, and especially with Main there, he just stepped once, stepped twice, and was able to kick the ball, and again threw a banana kick. See there, just Main just taking the most of his opportunities, and you just see that the Claremont are just lacking the defence. They went for the ball then, and just it was Martinez just went for the ball instead of going for the player's hips, and allowed Dylan Main to kick the goal.
The truck assist replay showing South Fremantle's efficiency going forward, and they win another clearance. Sloyth in the Strom direction. He misjudged it. That was Noah, but Zach is there to add some more pain to the Tigers in the opening quarter. What a start by the Bulldogs.
This is an incredible start by South Freo. Definitely not what Claremont would want, but South Fremantle, on the other hand, just incredible stoppage work and contested ball work, getting the ball moving forward. And Strom placed himself at the back of the pack and managed to crumb and kick the goal. And we see here Strom just sitting back at the back of the pack, and they're just off hands. All three goals have been kicked from clearances for South Fremantle.
Truck assist replay. Good viewing if you're a Dogs fan. Claremont, some massive concerns. This game starting in identical fashion to the way it did last week against East Fremantle. We know how that one turned out. They need a response immediately. Rayson, the South Australian, swing onto his left boot, long towards the wing. The two blondes go at it. Two blonde number 10. It's been in the same hairdresser during the week. Florenka, way to Turley. It's all South Fremantle with their hands on the footy. Bletchenden now with the left boot. Superb delivery to Noah Strong. Well, we've mentioned that the question marks have been around Claremont. Well, Nikki, this couldn't have started any better for South Fremantle.
Oh, and Bletchenden coming off a great game last week as well, and has just inserted himself into the game. That is a sizzling kick on his left.
Noah Strong, he won't mind playing forward if that's the delivery each and every time. Kicked 5 last week. Prior to that, just 3 career goals. Part of the premiership team in 2020 against Claremont on this ground. To give South 4 goals in the first 9 minutes of football. The Tigers are shell-shocked. The Bulldogs have been celebrating. They won't celebrate with this kick. It's gone across the face and off hands. First blemish of the day for South Fremantle.
Talk about players going from defence to attack. Most notably, going back in history, Shane Ellen was a defender for the Adelaide Crows and ended up kicking 5 in a grand final in a winning premiership side for Adelaide in the 90s. And Noah Strong misses him there, but it might be an inspired move by Todd Curley and the leadership group. Strong hands on the outer side by Hardesty.
I think it's a push out off the footy going South Fremantle's way.
That is right. So Strom now looks towards the pocket. He wants defence, no Jack Maybaum at the moment, and as a result, they're really struggling. That's a dangerous kick back to the corridor. South Fremantle able to win a turnover. The kick was partially smothered. They're held up just outside the goal square. Main is dumped in a tackle by the debutant Peace, and a ball up is the result. Claremont defence seeing all of the football, not one player is essentially backward of the wing for Claremont. They are under all sorts of pressure. Kelly across to Bourne. His snap off to the left. It's 5 scoring shots to 1. The margin as it stands is 19.
5 inside 50s, Nikki, for 5 scores.
It's a little bit of deja vu, I think, for Claremont, because East Freo came out and kicked 7 against them last week in the first quarter.
Oh,
so
it could be another one here. Parker with the intercept, bounces it to the open goal, and it rolls on. Another one for South Fremantle. It is raining goals at the Port.
I just don't know what Claremont would have to say about this. I'm sure that their box next door to us will be in all sorts, having huge discussions on what they can do to stem this tide.
It actually doesn't count as another inside 50. They've got 6 scores from 5 inside 50s. Is that even possible? It is, obviously, but it's ridiculous.
Truck assist replay. The bouncing ball was kind for South Fremantle, and the turnover came here. Matty Parker able to hit the target. A shade of luck. And it's 4 goals to nothing. They kicked 21 East Fremantle against the Tigers last week. Claremont facing down the barrel. Another big score unless they can stem the tide. Sloyth takes Bolton to ground.
They've already got 4 separate goal kickers this week.
Free kick, by the way.
On the pole.
Bolton none too pleased about that. A couple of Sando medalists come together.
And last week, South Fremantle have had 11 different scorers, so they know how to find the goals.
Sloyth just eases this in the Strom direction. Pitches to the side. Zach Strom couldn't take it with him. And was that ball dragged back in? The umpire gives him some degree of latitude, and Benning gets to his feet. Another dangerous area for the Tigers. Sloyth receives it from Turnbull. They have turned it over. Thankfully, from a Claremont perspective, Weston was in the way. Just need to own the footy for a couple of minutes here. Davis has it at left half back, goes across to defensive 50, head over the footy. A little lucky there was Martinez. He couldn't take it on the full, but his head was over it, and hence the high contact came. That kick to Bolton, but they're not really achieving much as they have the ball at left half back.
Well, at least getting their hands on the football for the moment, Claremont. They haven't had much of it in their possession so far. Bolton long down the line. At the back, McQuill can use the body well. Got rid of his opponent, Bologna in fact, with the mark into the middle. Ferreira turned everyone inside out, decided to go back to the outer side. Pearson can set something up here for the Dogs. Kelly on the bounce, can't handle that one. And we'll get a boundary throw in and a chance for the Tigers, Nikki, to take a breath.
Yeah, I think they need it, don't they? But Kelly had an amazing game last week as well. He just attacks the ball really hard, and he's a really useful impact player. So every time he's around the ball, you expect something to happen.
9 Claremont players yet to touch the footy. Only 3 for South. Still waiting for their first possession. Callan England gets directed by his teammates to straighten up and go down the line. He does just that. Contest brings it to ground, but McQuill can first to respond, and all the Claremont players stood around watching there and allowed Winder to step in and take the mark. Inside to Parker, already a goal kicker. Thumps this one long to a one-on-one contest. Rogers gets back. Came off his knuckles. The Tigers overrun it. Open goal coming up. And it's Paulson with his second.
Rogers did the right thing there to come back and to impact the play, but unfortunately he didn't impact the play and bring the ball forward or punch it sideways. It ended up going back towards goal, and Paulson made the most of his opportunity. Two goals for Paulson in this first quarter, so he's certainly having an impact. And with the truck assist replay, we see here that Rogers just went up and just did not impact the play. The ball came to ground at the back, and Paulson just pounced on it and kicked a goal.
Forwards are enjoying so much supply in this opening 15 minutes.
It's come off the back of the turnovers off half-back too, which has been really pleasing for South Fremantle.
The clearances have gone their way as well. Pleading his innocence was Branchy. Umpire will come in to sort out that mess. Nice love in the ruck against Branchy. Rogers squeezes a kick. Bouncing ball to half forward. Mainwaring lays the tackle. This is so un-Claremont-like from what we've seen over the past decade, really. Being brushed aside. Scrapped the possession. Clearing kick by Bletchenden. 30 disposals against the Eagles last week. Rogers near the boundary. In fact, he's put it out in the full because of the pressure applied by Manfred Kelly.
The pressure's been a difference here today from both sides. South Fremantle are bringing the pressure and are really hitting hard, whereas Claremont just don't seem to be close enough to be able to apply pressure to the ball carrier.
Kelly, it's a low ball. That's awkward to say the least for Noah Strom. And the tackle ensures that Winder's going nowhere. Of course, in the 2024 season, it's win-win WAFL. Massive kicks. Prices are great. There's always a win-win at the WAFL. Get your tickets at waffle.com.au. Sleuth was clever, down to Bletchenden. Terrific smother came from the debutante piece, but he might have been held onto as well on the way through. In fact, it's going back to South Fremantle. So Peace stands the mark, and Parker will take the kick, and he'll waste very little time. He knows they've got some tools to take advantage of quick entries, and there he is, Strom. It's either N or Z. This time it's a ladder.
South Freo just work their inside 50 really, really well. They create space, and so Strom just had so much space to work into. And despite Claremont trying to get back and feel late, Zach Strom just comes over the top and takes a great mark.
A goal next to his name. All the big forwards are having a slice of the action. Normally a very reliable kick, and the Bulldogs have slammed 6 on the board in the opening 17.5 minutes.
What does Claremont do at this stage? You know, they're being absolutely annihilated in the forward line. What if you're the coach of Claremont, what are you telling your players?
It's $1 million question, isn't it? There's a lot of Claremont players coming off the ground being handed the headset from one of the coaches down at ground level. So a lot of conversations between the interchange bench and the coach's box.
We just see Parker here just putting the ball out in front of Strom, and that's the difference at the moment between South Freo and Claremont, is that South Freo are fumbly and they're not making the most of their opportunities in possession-wise, whereas South Fremantle are taking their marks and then converting on the scoreboard.
It's 8 forward 50 entries for South Fremantle for 8 scores. Eastland with the clearing kick here for Claremont. Gets it to half forward. Manuel with his first possession. Wants to move it on. Quick kick, gains about 15. McQuilkin coming in the opposite direction. Holds it up for the moment at least. Alvarez hovering. Couldn't take possession. South Fremantle in trouble. Caught holding the ball. Turley was trying to break out. And this will be a shot for goal coming up for Mainwaring. It's the first time the Tigers, Nikki, have gone inside in 10 minutes of footy. Can they get their first goal?
Oh, they definitely need it. Turley, good young player.
Mainwaring steps around, hooks it around the corner. And at long last, the Tigers are on the board with a major.
Mainwaring, I should have said, not Turley. Great player. Just a sensational effort, like the opportunity to have their only shot on goal, their second shot on goal for this quarter. And Mainwaring just steps up and puts it through to make the scoreboard a little bit more respectable in this first quarter.
There it is, holding the ball. And Mainwaring, you can hear the vocals from him. He wants something from his teammates. Will that ignite them? High-scoring opening 20 minutes, 7 goals. Underway again. Sloyth, jumper hole. Eastland, they will be penalised. It's going back to either Sloyth or maybe even Florenka. Averaging 30 disposals, just continually wins the footy. Has a short option inside the centre. Kick by Rayson at the back. Don't tell me, another gift. The Strongs can do no wrong. Zach's got 3. The Tigers' defence all at sea.
Wow, that's twice. Twice the spoils have gone backwards instead of forwards or sideways, and that's just gifting goals to South Fremantle. The Strong was on the end of that one. And once again, South Freo do create space to lead into in the forward line, but Strong just smart enough to sit back, and those spoils aren't going where Claremont really want them to go. So as a defender, you want the ball to come to ground either in front or sideways, or if you're close enough to the goals, knock them through the goals. But all Claremont are doing are knocking the ball closer to goal so that South Fremantle can run onto an easy goal.
They're coach killers, aren't they, those spoils? And as well as that, the defender playing on Zach Strom twice has gone up to the contest and not had an impact. Allowed him all by himself at the top of the goal square. 3 goals in the first quarter to Zach. Oh, that's a high tackle this time from Zach. He's given one away.
What's the old saying? Made him earn it.
Absolutely. Martinez had both hands on both shoulders there, did Zach Strom. Maybe the adrenaline just flowing a little bit with 3 goals next to his name in the first quarter.
Almost ripped the peroxide out of his hair.
Martinez wheels away, kicks in the direction of the milestone man, Eastland. That's a nice mark. 7 goals to 1 in the first 22 minutes. Not the way you'd be wanting to celebrate your 100th game. Frederick.
South Fremantle defending well here. They're defending one-on-one and not allowing any long passes, so they're causing Claremont to move sideways, which is a win for South Fremantle.
Bailey Rogers perhaps being shifted into defence. It's one of the big concerns for Claremont is they started with their big 3 in the middle, with Mountford alongside Bailey Rogers and Bolton. We've seen Rogers play forward so much in the last 18 months. Bolton's played back. Coach Prescott decided to put all of his aces in there and finds himself 6 goals down. Wonder which way they go now. Just happy to control possession, keep their hands on the football, keep it away from South Fremantle. Here is Bolton, possession number 5 for him. Decides to go up the corridor, right into the middle of the ground. Spoil going out the back from Rayson. Felix Rogers couldn't take possession. Now he becomes a tackler. Didn't really have much effect on Pearson. Kicks long, and waiting behind the footy is Bolton. Slowing things down for the Tigers here at centre-half back.
Changes the angles. Off to Weston. Going very wide, Claremont. Maybe they're being forced. That kick was at the feet of Eastland, so really difficult to take on the way through. Weston backs up the kick with a strong tackle, but nothing really adventurous about that Claremont ball use. Umpire quick to ball it up. Mountford's kick was blunted. Bletcherden from the congestion. Oh, brilliantly spinning out of trouble was Russell. Got the hand pass away. He gets it back. He ducked the head. Could be in trouble. Now it's Frederick. Wants to dispossess his opponent. Does pretty well. The Tigers have some numbers around the footy. Hardesty, Rogers, good ball. And Mainwaring runs onto it at right half back.
That's much better pressure by Claremont and controlled ball use to finish to Mainwaring.
Finding the space and the open man. Mountford. Mainwaring cruising past. Has an early bounce. The sidestep. Kick is a wobbler inside 50 on the deck. Waterman should be bread and butter. The left foot kick was never going to miss.
And that all came about because Mainwaring was prepared to run and carry and to break lines and to kick long, and Waterman gets on the end of it inside 50 and kicks a much needed goal for Claremont.
Very upset coach, I think just above us perhaps. Fremantle coach's box.
Walls aren't are pretty thin.
And here we see is that Mainwaring kicking the ball inside 50 and Waterman kicking truly, and both Claremont's goals this quarter have come from turnovers.
Trademark goal from Alec Waterman, just his second of the season. It's his 8th game against South Fremantle. He's kicked now 12 goals in those contests. Branchy winning it in the ruck and following up with a little soccer kick. Gets through the fingers of Frederick. He's first to recover, but dispossessed in the tackle. Martinez supplies a good one. Get a stoppage.
Claremont have lifted their pressure. Just in the last 5 minutes even, it's clearly they're a lot tighter and they're a lot harder, and tackles are sticking a lot better.
Frederick clean below the knees on that occasion. Off to England. Kicks wide and reading it nicely. Following the flight of the footy well is Alvarez. England keeps on running by, wants the hand pass, about to run himself into trouble. Gets it along to Felix Rogers. They're treading the boundary line pretty carefully. Mountford blazes away, straight down the throat of Bolognese. Arriving late was Love. And off the hands of both Weston and Rayson. It goes out of play, but it's another inside 50 for Claremont. And the last couple of minutes have been all right for the Tigers, but gee, they're going to need some long periods of dominance here to get themselves right back into the contest.
9-goal opening quarter. Claremont getting their hands on the football, particularly 13 marks to 2 in the most recent part of this quarter. Bolton comes over the top and they force another stoppage inside the arc. Lots of talk out there. Eastland hooks it behind, hoping for a teammate. McCulkin's kick was blunted. High ball. Will be paid a mark? If it is, Bolognese come up with a beauty. Took some real courage going back amongst some bigger bodies. Well, mark was dropped initially by Turley. They're able to run it out of defence. Bletchenden. There's a free kick. It's coming back to the Bulldogs. Fredericks being penalised. And Main spots up Ferreira. They can just share the ball across half back. McQuilkin in turn to Turley. Lachlan Turley has the short option in racing. So the Bulldogs controlling the footy nearing quarter time. They've kicked 7 goals. It's been an avalanche. Claremont just starting to grind their way back into the contest.
Lewis Rayson, actually captained South Australia's under-19s on grand final day at Optus Stadium a couple of years ago. Recruited by the Dogs from Glenelg. Davis, scrappy kick, puts Eastland under pressure. And this is that swarm from the Dogs again. Turnbull to the open side. Can they create something? No. Callan England happy to stand under the high ball and takes an important mark.
That was a lucky let-off for Claremont. They did a lot of hard work up at the top of the defensive 50, and just small skill errors just let South Fremantle back in the game a little bit for an inside 50 entry.
Strong spoil from Branchy there on Bryant. It's enough to turn it over again. Schleuf emerging with the football, goes wide. Might be happy with a boundary thrown in their forward pocket, and I think that's what they'll get. The umpire turns and has to look a long way back to find the boundary umpire. Let's check out the scores around the grounds. Tight one at half-time. East Perth lead Peel. That was the early match. 3 points the lead, but a good start from the Lions against the Falcons. First 4 goals of the game.
Later today, it's the Demons and Swan Districts as part of the WAFL Wonderland. A ball up just after 4 o'clock. Nearing quarter time here. Eastland takes clean possession. Punches it wide. The Crooker was there. And Musica comes across to spoil. He turns 23, by the way, Jack Musica from the Coburn Junior Football Club. We know it's Musica because his mother told us that that's the pronunciation for Jack. Glad we get that feedback. Love it more often. Ball spins back into play. Oh, the ruckman go to ground. Surely Eastland was infringed by Branchy. Nothing doing according to the umpire. Here's a high ball. Noah Strom was there. Fisted away by Davis. South looking ominous again. Mountford wins it. Gives it to Rogers. And the Tigers can escape along the outer side.
Kicks to a contest on the wing. Diving effort. That's a good grab. And an important mark taken by Mainwaring. Done some nice things, Zach Mainwaring, in the first quarter. Only Rogers runs himself into trouble. Another turnover. Bletchenden on the way out for South. Hand pass over the top to Parker. He's kicked one and set up one or two others in this first quarter. Long to the contest. Davis goes to the spoil. Could have taken the mark. Martinez there to mop up. Bolton's hand pass was ambitious on the ground, but it worked well. Benning sidesteps one off to Frederick. Runs straight into the solid bump there from Noah Strom, but the Tigers keep the ball alive. They've got it to the centre line. Little touch on it from Turley. Quilkin diving in there as well. Schleut around the footy. It spills out the back. Here's Love. Sending it wide to the boundary. Maybe a throw in front of Alex Manuel. Dogs appealing for a free kick. Jacob Sachs wanting a deliberate out of bounds free kick. As the kids are enjoying the bouncy castle. Some very nice autumn conditions down here at Fremantle today.
First quarter brought to you by JDN Contract and Electrical Services. Outstanding results delivered safely, efficiently and cost effectively. Big thank you to all our supporters in our WAFL coverage in 2024. Eastland and Branchy, Schleut. Momentary fumble. Claremont hoping to strike one late here. England sends a high ball. Oh, very good work to get himself into front position was Manuel. And he'll be kicking to pull the margin inside 5 goals, which if you'd asked us that 10 to 15 minutes ago, they would have taken that, Claremont.
Manuel just used his body well then to get himself, force himself to the front of the contest and took a chest mark, which sometimes is quite easy for the opposition to put a fist in and spoil the ball, but he's held on to it and now he's got a shot on goal.
To become the 3rd individual goal kicker for the Tigers on the siren. He's kicked 5 for the year, 2 against the Sharks last week. This will give the Tigers some momentum heading into quarter time, and he obliges. He's their leading goal kicker this year. And
50 entries, and they were obviously scoring more goals.
Matches between these two teams have been very low scoring and very tight over the past 6 or 7 years. It's only been one occasion that teams have kicked more than 11 goals in a match. Where South have got 7 already at quarter time. Branchy and Eastland tangle. Off the wing comes Weston. Bounce didn't really favour him. He did well enough to hold it up. There's a free kick for a hold though. It's going to come the way of the red and whites and Ashton Ferreira. Colts graduate from last year. Front edge of the centre square. They've been so damaging from this sort of range throughout the game so far. Kicks in the Bletchenden direction. Couple of bites, he'll be paid the mark. Alvarez can argue all he likes, but those marks get paid every day of the week.
maybe not.
Still got paid. So Tom Bletchenden gave up his number 7 in round 1 as a tribute to Steve Marsh, the late Steve Marsh. Back in the number 7 now. Normally does most of his good work in the midfield, but a chance to add his name and become the 5th goal kicker already for South Fremantle, just a minute into quarter number 2. Sets it out to the right, it starts to swing on the breeze. He's just missed narrowly.
Bear in mind, Paulson kicked one inside 20 seconds in the first quarter. That would have really been a dagger for Claremont. Martinez with the kick-in duties, 30 disposals against East Fremantle. Has ample space to set this one up. Off hands taken by Waterman. Ground level ball, piece involved. Boundary line looms quickly. Now the coach's boxes. Looks all calm, but I can assure you at times, not necessarily from Claremont, but there's some noises and some desks that are being modified. Branchy and Eastland. Ball on the ground. Branchy does well. Now he can't quite free the arms to get the hand pass away. Eastland looks towards the umpire for a free kick, but no response.
I like South Frere's structure here. They're just keeping their length so that if this ball comes in quick, they've got opportunities forward, back. They've got them everywhere. They're not just going to be running onto the footy.
Sleuth to Russell. Davis taken down in a magnificent tackle. He had no prior. But there's some real intent there from the Bulldogs, and perhaps a few words, in fact some conciliatory words as Florinka gets to his feet. A couple of interchanges not far away perhaps for both sides.
Eastland with pretty much a fresh air shot there at the ruck. England coming through, lays it off to Weston, who sends a towering torpedo up the line. The shins there of Main Waring. Diving effort of Bolinu missed the footy, and then he shoved his opponent to ground. Here comes Weston again. Back feed on the hand pass. They go further back. Bolton to Davis. Good attack on the footy from Rayson. Musica knows this ground pretty well, having come through the South Fremantle junior system. Coburn Junior Footy Club. There's some attention for Alex Manuel.
Alex, watch out, stay down.
Kick the goal on the siren at quarter time. Free kick in the ruck contest here going the way of Branchy again. The left footer sends an absolute wobbler out wide. Too hard for Martinez to handle, and he was happy enough to slap it across the boundary for a throw-in. It's a bit of a slow start to this second term. Claremont won't mind that too much, although they do have some ground to make up.
Second quarter brought to you by Crown. Just at the 50 for South. Kick 7 in the opening quarter. Near the boundary line, Sleuth ensures that Peace is going nowhere. A 200 gamer. In fact, game number 203 and a first match next to the name Jasper Peace. Far more sedate start to this quarter than the frantic nature of the first. Contested ball, England's there, Sleuth at the base of that. We've seen 3 goals almost by now in the opening quarter, but this is probably what Claremont needs.
Yeah, they do. They need to make sure that they are really hot on the pressure of South Fremantle, and also winning the contested ball like Ash Prescott wants them to do. So they need to win this. They've got all their forwards up quite high, so I'm guessing what they want to do is get the ball over the top and run into space into the forward line.
Let's see if we can clear the area here. Umpire tosses it up. It's a good tackle made by Martinez, wasn't rewarded. That was on Florinka, and for about the 4th time, the man in green will come in to try to clear the area.
10 goals between the two teams in the first quarter. Barely had a sniff in the first 5 minutes of this term. Eastland and Branchy at it once more, swooping through England. Hand pass partly intercepted. Martinez goes to ground in a tackle. Busiest men on the ground are wearing green at the moment. So repeat stoppages early in this term. I mentioned that Claremont won't mind this too much. South sitting on a 4-goal lead, won't be too upset either. Early jump from Branchy. Eastland wins the tap. Through comes Bailey Rogers. That was clever. Over the shoulder to Martinez. He turns it over. Turley in the way on the wing. South, we've seen them do this for years and years down here at the Port. Looking to switch. McQuilkin now. There's a lot of space for the next link in the chain. Salmeri, the short pass to Rayson. Looks like he's a pretty good ball user off half back. Rayson kicks this one and sets it up nicely for Paulson. Represented WA at State 18s level. Originally from Peel Thunder. Played some amateur footy last year. Long kick towards the hot spot. Eastland tries to clear. It might come straight back. Important ball to be won. Turnbull was strong. Bounced out an opponent and then poked it into the pocket and finds Russell. And Eric Bending coming off the worst for wear. Kyle Russell will have a shot for goal.
When you're outnumbered and got nowhere to go, you got to go straight through him, and he bounced off, and a deliberate kick out wide, and what an incredible mark by Russell.
Absorbed the hip and shoulder which he instigated, then had the vision to just drop the ball into the path of Russell.
Sideways.
Clever stuff. Deserves a goal here. Can Russell do the job from the pocket? No, he's pushed it across the face. Won't score, in fact, and it's marked right alongside the behind post by the Centurion, Ollie Eastland.
Ollie's been called to play on here. South with some numbers. There's a push out. It's coming back to Claremont. Right, South Fremantle ball.
Might have been an unrealistic attempt.
So Bolognese. South able to work it back towards the centre square. Pearson. Branchy. Well blessed with height, this South Fremantle side. That there is no denying. And here's an example of why rival clubs, particularly defences, are going to be troubled so regularly this season if the likes of Zach Strom, Noah Strom, Polson all find a way to cause mismatches.
They're just playing a sensational game, South Freo, because Claremont have all their players up in South Fremantle's forward half of the ground, so to try and pick a way through is quite difficult, and they managed to pick out Zach Strom very easily.
I'm sure there's a competitive rivalry between Noah and Zach at some stages of their lives, vying for the leading goal kickers at South Fremantle. And Zach says, "You got 5 last week, Noah. I'm out after you. I have 4, and I've got plenty of time to come."
Well, they're just unstoppable at this stage. Especially the Strom brothers and Zach kicking 4. But yeah, just really strong leading by Zach and a really fantastic kick to Zach's advantage. And it just gives the defenders no chance. On the Crown replay, we see here that Zach takes a huge contested mark and then goes back on a significant angle and puts it through with ease.
Well, his 4 goals last week equaled a career high. He's got 4 already today. We're only 9.5 minutes into the second quarter.
He could have Austin Robertson in his sights the way he's tracking.
Be worth watching if you can reach that mark today. Branchy up against Eastland once more. From his knees, feeds the hand pass out. Quick kick forward. Jake Florenka turns it over. Martinez on the way back to Bolton on the wing. Plenty of room here for Jai Bolton. Couple of bounces and carries it his full measure. Kicks to a good position. May Waring there in from the side, Love. Off the hands, it falls nicely for South Fremantle. Pearson with some composure. Picks up Branchy. Off to Chase Bourne. Good movement of the footy into the middle. Winder. Now Turnbull, the next link in the chain. Lots of space forward of the footy here for the Dogs. It's a long kick in the main direction. In fact, the bounce favours Russell, and he'll bend it over his shoulder for another one. Back-to-back goals for the Dogs.
That's got to crush your spirit for a Claremont. They had a great break on the outside with Bolton having 2, 3 bounces, even more. Getting inside 50, even inside 30, but the composure of South Fremantle, they just swarmed in numbers. They managed to move the ball quite easily through congestion and then through the corridor and then deliver inside 50, and then it ended in a goal.
Good ball use from defence to attack. The kick by Turnbull was, well, a nightmare for defenders given the bounce.
And Russell just finishes off with a goal, and that is sensational, almost coast to coast from South Fremantle, which what should have possibly been a certain goal for Claremont, not 15, 20 seconds beforehand.
Crown replay, Russell celebrates. There's a bit happening after it, but the Tigers, again, in desperate trouble. Winder was slung out of the contest, no whistle. Eastland jams it on the boot, bounces poor for Love. Bolognese, want to drag that back in. Interesting to see what the umpire has to say here. No. So South Fremantle beaten by East Perth in round 1. Took care of the Eagles last week. There's a quick whistle here. And Love will give away a 50-metre penalty as well as the free kick. So Zach Strom, who's kicked 4 goals, now finds himself running out of defence. Uses Parker, who turns it over. A couple of players have gone down inside 50. There's a hold. It'll be a Claremont ball. Manuel with the ball in his hand initially. But as it turns out, the opportunity presents itself now for Kieran Gowdy, who turned 22 on Tuesday, back into the side. Haven't seen a lot of him so far today. And this might test him distance-wise. Begins his approach at the point of the square. Hits it pretty well. Has it got the distance? It most certainly has. And it was on target, most importantly. Gowdy strikes an important blow for the Tigers.
Gowdy just, I don't know what that free kick was for or how it came about, but obviously it goes back, and that was a good 55-metre kick, but it probably went through at half post height, so it was a good roost, and kick truly, and Claremont definitely need that. On the Crown replay, we see here that there was a South Freo and a Claremont player that were in a tussle, but the free kick went to Gowdy. He goes back and on 50 metres, kicks the goal.
Have the 100 gamer on the headsets, Ollie Eastland, joining us now. Oliver, that's an important goal, but gee, that first quarter, the first 15 minutes were a horror show.
Yeah, we haven't started well the first 3 games of the year, and we didn't start well today. It's really poor effort, and came back in the second half and probably did that again today, and good to get that one back, and hopefully we can keep rolling in the second.
Yeah, Ollie, what was the message at quarter time from Ash?
He was just talking about our intensity and our work rate wasn't there, and we just needed to continue that voice and follow up, and our backs were just really not one-on-one, and we need to be better at that.
Ollie, as a ruck, you've got a pretty fair midfield group at your feet. Got a few plans in there?
Yeah, with Bolts and Brogger and the likes, we can always mix it up, and to be honest, their midfield's doing a lot as well, so we're trying to get creative, but as the game gets on, I think we can get into it and get our run going.
Ollie, thanks for your time, and congratulations on the 100 games.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Oliver Eastland joining us, boundary side.
It's been a stalwart of the Tigers for many years now. He's got a big job to do to get his team back into these contests. That 6-goal break that South got in the first 18 minutes today. And the margin 32 points right now. You imagine those first 18 minutes are going to be a nightmare for the rest of the day for Claremont. West love to do some ruck work now with Ollie Eastland on the bench. Gets rid of his opponent. Doesn't touch the footy. And 2 Tigers come in with the tackle. Get a ball up. That goal from Kieran Gowdy, that was his first touch of the game. There's still 6 Claremont players that haven't had a kick today. So as much as they've worked their way back to a bit of parity, you can't wipe off those first 18 minutes, of course. But there's still a lot of players not doing a whole lot of work just yet for the Tigers. Free kick here. Being thrown to ground was Ashton Bryant. Whistle from the umpire. Trying to tell players to clear out. One of 4 Colts premiers from last year in the lineup here today for Claremont. Setting it up long for Manuel. Underneath the flight of the footy. Snapping it is Alvarez. He's hooked a little bit too far. And behind for Claremont. Trims the margin to 31.
Nicely picked up and he's clean at ground level. Alvarez just missed that. It was a very good effort.
Certainly makes a difference when you can get clean possessions and have a shot on goal like that. They're obviously getting first to the ball as well, so they're getting the umpires are rewarding them with the free kicks.
Quilkin with the kick in, taken by Gowdy, and there might be a relay ball down here and some push and shove. It was Music who goes to ground, but he's up on his feet. Claremont has to be careful not to give this away. Alec Waterman is saying, boys, get back to position. This is in good hands. So Alec Waterman has kicked the goal from a snap. 30 out, no angle. That's why he's come back to the club, to provide options in attack. It's an accurate day of kicking for both sides in this round 3 encounter. The Tigers have 5.
And I'm sure Claremont needed Waterman to stand up today and kick some goals, and he's one of the veterans of the team, and they'll be relying on him to just provide some leadership out there, and that goal certainly lifts that team spirit. Just a free kick here being given to Musica, then to Waterman, and Waterman puts it through for a much-needed goal for Claremont.
Second time today that the Tigers have strung consecutive goals together. South have managed that on 2 occasions as well. The problem for Claremont is the first of those strings of goals was 6 in a row. They've kicked 5 goals to 3 since that point, Claremont. Eric Benning lays it off to Bolton. And then Bolton towards the wing. Bit of holding on here, going Claremont's way. Main Waring. Something just starting to build here for the Tigers. Good vision into the middle for Cal England. Loves to run and carry the footy. About to be run down by Bourne. Long shot on goal is off target. McQuilkin had it covered anyway. And a bit of a wasted opportunity there for Cal England, but the Tigers are back within 4.
Had players leading for him. Chose what would have been a 55-metre shot. Nonetheless, I think you're right. There's something brewing for the Tigers. Hasn't translated into a score to worry South Fremantle just yet, but they're back in the general play. That mark almost paid, was it? No. Strong. No, it looks back to the umpire and says, surely.
Thought it was a fair question to ask too. I thought he marked it.
And the WAFL Wonderland is part of 2024. It's got a twist this year. Select matches between now and June, including today at Mineral Resources Park. The Demons and Swans. That match starts later this afternoon. Sloyth, low ball, difficult for Paulson to gather. Some run through the middle. England, not taken by Bolton, who went to ground. He's indicating he was taken high. The umpire's called play on, and then has gone back to say hi.
I think the umpire down in the forward line for South Fremantle was the one that spotted it. Oh, it was high.
It was high. Paulson could be scrutinised for that action. Certainly with no dive there from Jai Bolton. So the umpire possibly blindsided given the angle, but nothing that could stop Eastland from surging forward to take a mark. So in the ruck, now forward, and this to pull the margin back to 3 goals. His hand passed it off. Bolton, is that the right option? He gives it to the Sandover medalist, and they complete a magnificent play. The 100 gamer off to Bolton for the goal.
Well, that's got to be a team lifter for Claremont. Bolton just takes that heavy hit and then kicks a great kick right out into the leading path of the Claremont player in Eastland, who's on his 100th game, and then gives it back to Bolton to say, here, have this goal, and he kicks truly. Crowd replay here sees Eastland take a great mark, and then just on the sly gives off the handball to Bolton, and isn't that just a magnificent team lifter for Claremont?
14 disposals for Jai Bolton at 100% efficiency as well. The Tigers with the last 5 scores of the game, back within 3 goals. Manfred Kelly wants to put an end to that. Hand pass back to Parker, almost slips as he kicks, works out fine. Dylan Main has it now. Too far out to score. Guides it inside 50. Almost with the intercept mark, Hardesty. Happy to run straight into a tackle and force a stoppage. Bolton now 15 disposals, 10 kicks, 5 hand passes and a goal. Clearly the leading possession went on the ground. Here's Howard. He's tackled by a couple of dogs as well. Hayden Schleuf leads the way in terms of disposals for South Fremantle with 11. He's lurking around this stoppage. Ball tapped into his space. Hardesty comes across and cleans him up. Ball comes back to Hardesty, charged down by Parker. Schleuf gets up and walks back towards Hardesty as if to say, is that the best you've got? Back on my feet. Certainly the intensity's lifted. It needed to from Claremont, conceding the first 6 goals of the game. They've halved that deficit. Bryant steps through the traffic, guides his kick quite wide. Felix Rogers happy to carry it over. We'll see a boundary throw in a couple of minutes into time on here in the second.
Been a good fight back here by Claremont. 3 goals to 2. There's no way, though, we're going to erase the deficit in 1 quarter. 25. But they are getting plenty of decent looks now. Weston across his body, picked off by McCulkin. Heads to Letchenden. Into some space, and now, as you'd expect, with the tools they've got there, not quite the mark to Strom. Ground level ball, Claremont lock it away, but you always feel that high ball that Claremont are a little bit vulnerable.
They've got tall timber down there, and they've shown that they can take the marks up forward.
Main at ground level. And Zach Strom lays a legal tackle on Hardesty. 20 out. South Fremantle's attacking in. Eastland slaps it down. Went through the legs of Frederick. Here's Kelly scheming. A fumble by Main allowed England to hand it to Rogers. Ball to half back, and Main wearing on the up to Bolton, who arches the back, kicks for distance, and now the foot race is on. It's Love who taps it. He's got a man in Manuel, but he just can't work it to him. Well defended by Sachs, who's coming as a late replacement for Donaldson. And good ball movement by the Tigers. This is a far cry from what we saw in the opening term.
It's great pace by Bolton, wasn't it?
He was just about running himself off his feet. Went with the running torpedo. Got enough on it to get it deep, but couldn't find the target. Boundary throw-in. Tigers might be one down on the bench as well. We haven't seen Declan Mountford this quarter. He did go into the rooms during the quarter-time break. I don't think we've seen him through this second term. Seen a few occasions where there's been 3 Tigers waiting at the interchange gates to come on, so there might be one short on the bench. Bailey Rogers tries to come through, met solidly by Turnbull. We've seen him use his hip and shoulder effectively a couple of times this quarter. Kick to the wing, Gowdy could have taken the mark, decided to punch it forward. Bolton worried out of it by Turnbull. Here's Kelly now. Hand pass from Ferreira. Turnbull again, strong enough to release the hands. Ferreira loses the footy in a good tackle. Parker out the back door being chased. Hands it back. Salmeri slung to ground and held on to too long according to the umpire. But South need this, Nikki, because at the moment Claremont are applying a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I agree. And what South are doing well in these circumstances, they've always got a backdoor option, like a quarterback that comes up to the contest, so they've always got a backdoor handball. But the pressure from Claremont is also causing them to kick just inadvertently and just dump kick it down the line.
Parker trying to be creative. Ferreira wrapped up. Good tackle applied by Howard and also Frederick. Next goal, Ski, appears to be pretty important in this contest.
Well, if the Tigers even go down 17 points to half-time, that won't be the worst result. Can they erode further into that deficit? Here's an opportunity. Main Waring didn't hit that well. It was a real skied ball. McCulkin was equal to the challenge. Schleuf through the middle. Ample time to assess. Russell wants to hit the pocket. Asking something of Kelly. It was a really good kick. And the small forward provides the option. He's on the angle. His eyes are darting towards the middle before he points to the uprights. Manfred Kelly. Just the 7 disposals today. He's that type of player. going with a conventional drop punt from a very tight angle. Needs to be precise. It's off to the left. And the margin nearing half-time is 18.
The Tigers just shading the quarter. They've taken 7 points off the quarter-time deficit. South looking to add some more damage to the scoreboard. Bourne, a hand pass back towards Pearson. Now Salmeri. Bourne and Pearson once more. They work that very nicely. Parker on the end of it. Good hands for the footy to be in. So pushes a long way back off the mark in the end. He'll just set it up. Where are the Stroms? Kelly's going to wait down. The sun might have posed a problem as well. Hardesty towards Martinez. He'll be happy to take it over. No, he keeps it alive and he gets it back. The Tigers were ambitious with their ball movement on that occasion. Rogers is about to be buried in a tackle. And the ball spills out for a throw-in. Pearson wants to go on with it a little bit as well.
Not sure that Martinez wanted to keep that in, but it turned out that way.
The South forwards just hung off him for a moment, didn't they? And almost dared him to take it out. Now some high contact in the scuffle. And it's going to be a South free kick.
The players are running the wrong direction
They are.
here. If this, no,
The umpire pointed the wrong way.
Yes.
The players knew what he meant.
How long before we see a player with Dean Jones and wear sunglasses?
Yeah, well, that certainly could have been an issue just then. Bailey Rogers taking some time to recover his breath after that scuffle. Main Waring, strong pair of hands. He runs into Pearson and holds him up. Now he's called to play on the wheel and go. High towards half forward. Gowdy is there, in from the side. The leap comes from Eastland. No crummers as yet for Claremont. Quick hands from Bright to Eastland. It's a foot race to the goal square. Can anyone win it? It's come off hands. Alvarez put the hand up like a soccer striker, claiming it was his ball. It wasn't. And the rush behind trims the margin to 17.
Lots to work with Thrash Prescott, though, at half-time. They were out on their feet 15 minutes into this contest. But heading towards the long break, they've restored the scoreline to a manageable level. A bit of feeling in this one. The Tigers are winless through 2 rounds. They were thumped by 90 points by the Sharks, and they were jumped.
Go. Tigers with the last 3 goals of the game in the second half of quarter number 2. Somehow they can get the first 3 goals of this quarter. They'll be in front, which would be remarkable. They will go forward first. Callan England towards half forward. Sachs. Just his second kick of the game came up here. Takes good relieving mark at centre half back. Kick, though, is very wide, and Alvarez carries it over. I'm sure that's exactly where Sachs would have intended the ball to go, but stoppage is better than a turnover.
He turned his body well, Sachs, to take that mark and to protect the drop of the ball. And then just going wide and just not hitting targets, that can, you know, sometimes be just a huge coach killer in a way. There's decision making. Was it the right decision? Not too sure, but skill execution was off as well.
Winder, Bourne and Parker combine. And Parker's kick, he's just overcooked it a little bit. It skids away and out of play. Nikki, what did you notice with the numbers in quarter number 2? Any major changes?
All of the goals were scored by both teams from turnovers, which means that Claremont really stemmed the tide of the stoppage goals that were happening for South Fremantle in the first quarter. And with the marks, we spoke about marks pre-game. So Claremont that quarter only took 5 marks, whereas South Fremantle took 21 marks. But that could also be with Claremont only taking 5 marks because they tended to play on quite a lot and they just used their run and carry and were quite brave and took on the game a lot more, so not as many marks.
Important one taken there by Waterman, and he connects to Gowdy, who runs straight underneath the flight of the football. Rogers gives it off to Rogers. Alvarez outside of the boots. Perfect start this time for the Tigers. 4 in a row.
They're doing so much better when they don't take their marks. The ball hits the ground and there's a little bit of chaos inside 50, and then they're just not even thinking about snapping on goal, and it's actually working for them.
I'm not sure that kick was intended for Gowdy or not. There
were 2 up, weren't there?
Yeah, so the Max's Tyres replay. We'll have a look at that in a second.
Yeah, the ball just comes out to Alvarez. And Alvarez just on the check side puts the ball through and does the one-finger salute in the air.
Yeah, the Maxis replay coming to you at the start of this third quarter. Bear in mind, South Fremantle had a goal inside the first 30 seconds, but they've kicked, as Dave Lindsay said, the past 4 goals and have a run on here. They're back within a couple of kicks. They have the ball at half-back, the last goal kicker, Alvarez. That might be adjudged insufficient intent. The umpire's rushing with some intent, but no. He calls for a boundary throw-in. Claremont. This game means so much to them, having been beaten in their opener against West Perth and then humbled by the running premiers. Rogers' hand pass too slick for Alvarez. South Fremantle able to get it to Polson, who pushes Benning off the footy. The Tiger keeps it trapped beneath the legs of Zach Strom. Like an absolute walk in the park for South Fremantle after 15 minutes, but Claremont have absolutely turned this game around. Here's a snap out of nowhere. It hasn't missed by a lot from Winder. A minor score. Been great accuracy for both these teams thus far. 16 goals, 10 kicked on what is, to be honest with you, Dave, perfect weather for footy.
Yeah, if there was ever a day you were going to do it, today is perfect day. Alvarez, who kicked the last goal for Claremont, doing his work in the back pocket now. Bailey Rogers gets it forward. Here is Gowdy. Takes that mark. Thought about a hand pass to release Bailey Rogers for a second time in the passage. Here he comes now to receive from England. Pokes a kick to Waterman. Too far out to score. Calls for the lead. Coming directly at him, and it's Mainwaring on his chest. A chance to go back and kick his second goal, and if he kicks truly, they're within a goal. He doesn't mind the snap around the body. He's lined up for the set snap here. He'll open up the angle when he steps out. Normally a pretty clever finisher. He's just pushed it across the face. Instead of being within a single kick, they're now within 2.
That fast ball movement's working really well for Claremont. What they do is they bring all their forwards up towards the 50-metre line, create space behind, and then Mainwaring just dropped down into the goal square and then led back up at the foot of the ball carrier.
Short ball back into play. Bulldogs having to just hold the fort for the time being. Frederick, England, Benning, and back to Frederick. They square the footy. It's got a bit of hang time, but Martinez is able to take it. Now Sloyth is claiming he's been taken high. What's the umpire going to do? He's going to reverse this. Now whether Martinez has been reckless, whether Sloyth took a fall a little too easily, I'm not sure about that. More shoulder, but that's...
The umpire's fallen for that, hasn't he?
I think so. But Hayden Sloyth is, well, for the time being, looks distressed. That was an important ball to be won. And a turnover is the result. Sloyth looking for that tall target. The Strommers were up and down. Couldn't take it. Polson was almost on the receiving end of a hand pass. Benning knocks it down. But again, the danger of South. Noah Strom slaps it defensively. Able to keep control of the footy. Running laterally now is Ferreira. And on the slide is Parker. Has he taken the mark inside the field of play? Yes, he has.
The boundary umpire was almost tucked up against the behind post, so he didn't have a great view from where he was.
Had a better view than us.
It certainly did. We'll take his word for it.
We're 150 metres away in the old media commentary area. 25 minutes since the Bulldogs' last goal. No wonder George Griliusic, the late great, got a little frustrated at times. This is a tight angle. He slips in the act of kicking, hence he doesn't make the distance. A fist, and England escorts it over.
It's not a bad result for a miss to have a boundary throw in, which will bring the ball back into the corridor for South Fremantle.
Better than the behind, yes. They get the chance to set up. Strom gets to the front, gets hands to it. Ball spills off some bodies. In fact, a couple of Bulldogs thought it might have been either out of the full or insufficient intent, but
I think he handballed it straight out and over the line, over the boundary line.
well, I didn't see that, nor did the umpire, thankfully, more importantly.
Eastland and Strom. Eastland works it to the front. Benning knocks it to a dangerous area. Hardesty had to be clean, and he was. Kicks to the wide open spaces at half-back. Mate, we're working very hard to get across. Did an excellent job. Couldn't afford to let that ball fall into the hands of a Bulldog. It's been a pretty good game from Zach Mainwaring. 7 disposals. He's kicked a goal. The Tigers, the last 3 of the second quarter and the first of the third. If you're joining us late, South kicked the first 6 goals of the game. We weren't expecting that we'd be talking about the Tigers being back within 11 points, approaching the midway point of quarter number 3. 8 of the last 13 games between these two teams have been margins of 2 goals or less. Normally quite low scoring contests. And plenty of goals in this one. Alvarez, who has kicked the goal that's been scored in this quarter, turns it over. Bolanew sliding in on his knees. He's called a play on. Happy to switch the footy across half-back. Pearson, the next link in the chain. They might have most of the exits covered, although they've worked this nicely here, South Fremantle. Rayson just had it knocked out of his hands in the nick of time. It's the ex-Bulldog in Musica. Getting it to half-forward. Waterman hands it off to Gowdy. A fumble. Got 3 Bulldogs to beat now. The numbers should win out, although in comes Mainwaring again. Good tackle. Holding it up for the Tigers. They'll get a ball up on attacking 50.
Great tackle by Mainwaring.
Nice work by the debutant. Musica. Just outside the 50. Just feel Claremont pressing and South Fremantle are looking for a way to hold on. Rogers hacked it forward. Mark was dropped by Sachs. Manuel towards the goal square. Players go to ground. Here's Love, slaps it clear. Alvarez tries to stop his opponent in his tracks. The ball is trapped there. There's no prior opportunity in that passage.
I love Claremont's intent to just keep the ball alive. There were a couple of opportunities there where they could have just let the ball run over the boundary line, but they've kept it alive, and now they're right in front of goal in the corridor.
Gowdy, Branchy, hacked out of there. Fredericks, Eastland, back to Frederick. Back to Eastland by hand. Benning weaves and gives to Eastland, who's run down. Did get boot on ball, hence he isn't penalised for holding the footy. Main has 2 to beat. He might just do that. Not a lot to go too long. So he heads to the pocket, makes it a foot race. Hardesty gets back, but he feeds Martinez. Alvarez was asked to do a lot more than he should have on that occasion. South Fremantle through Main. Over the top. The kick to the top of the square and beyond, just missing. Just missing on that occasion from Ferreira. And the margin back to 12 as South Fremantle supporters get a little more on the edge of their seats.
Weston to Bolton. Interfered with in the contest and come up tank.
Russell is hurt.
Russell, it's a neat, just great signs. Umpire might just hold up play here while Russell might need some attention. He's going to get himself to his good leg, his right one. He's trying to hobble out of the way, but he looks in quite some discomfort at the moment. He's holding his ankle in the end, the left ankle. So he'll be assisted from the field.
Probably needs, yes, some physical support. Both players landed really awkwardly.
Yeah.
Looks like the syndesmosis, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It goes the wrong way.
Yeah, his foot just folded under him with the weight of Bolton on top of him as well.
So he's going to be assisted from the field. You can see there a couple of trainers doing their best. Luckily, he wasn't too far away from the interchange gates, although you have to say the interchange gates probably won't make too much difference. He probably won't be back today. Jai Bolton, 16 disposals. Bailey Rogers has gone past him now. He's up to 18. The kick to Love, who slides in. He's claiming the mark. Umpire having none of that. And we'll get a ball up. Here's Wes Love, recruited from University Footy Club in the Perth Footy League. Hands it back to the umpire. Game on a bit of a knife's edge at the moment. Tigers have done a lot of work to get themselves back into the contest. Need to keep scoring here though. Parker pumps the Bulldogs in long. Big back and Strom brought it down again. Zach Strom in the middle of a four-man pack with a fine grab. Well, it's been his day, Zach Strom. 3 goals in the first quarter, then he kicked the first of the second, and this is for a career high of 5 goals. Last goal at the 11-minute mark of quarter number 2. 31 minutes of game time for the Bulldogs to re-establish a buffer. And they're back out to a 3-goal break. Zach Strom has 5.
Zach with 5 goals. That's an incredible effort. And comes off the back of just a super mark as well. Just a great king of the pack mark. And just the pressure of being able to go back as well and slot the goal after 31 minutes from their last goal as well. The Maxis replay here shows Parker just delivering long, and that seems to be Parker's trademark as well. He wants to get the ball in long, and Strom goes back and puts the goal through.
Not just 5 goals, 5 straight.
5 straight.
I'm not sure there's been a more versatile footballer in the WAFL in the past decade. He can play defence, he can play forward, he can play in the ruck, he can play in the wing. It's a great trait to have, particularly for Todd Curley as they scrap for the ball inside the centre circle.
It's an ace in the pack, isn't it, for Todd Curley? You can throw him anywhere and you know what sort of performance he's going to get. He very rarely lets you down.
Such a reliable player. Branchy over the top went Love. Bouncing ball for Claremont, who attacked solidly. Bolognese in trouble, but he was able to release. And South Fremantle working to Ferreira on the bounce. He's got space to assess. Looking for, but not finding his target, Florenka. It's been put out of bounds on the full. Beautiful day on the steps, the banks, to watch some WAFL footy. England heads inboard, drives into the pocket. Not great service for the forwards. Salmeri is claimed after taking hold of the footy. What a contrast, that the tools of South Fremantle launching at it. On that occasion was Waterman, the closest forward. Eastland now knocks it for Bolton. He couldn't control it. Salmeri. And a sharp ball came from Florenka to Bolognese. England follows up well, but he might have run out of bounds in the process. As we like to chat to those that are making a mark with Oliver Eastland, his 100th game, and Zach Strom, who's going to join us for a chat now. Zach, first of all, I'm sure you're aware of this, 5 goals at career best. Congratulations, my friend.
Yeah, it's all a bit of a blur out there, but yeah, career high so far.
Zach, apparently your sister Mim says that she teaches you everything you know with your goal kicking.
Mim was pretty surprised last week when Noah was kicking a bag of 5.
We may as well keep it in the family. How much banter was there when Noah kicked 5 to go past your career best last week?
No, just happy for him to kick a few goals and hopefully gets a couple today.
On a serious note, Zach, first quarter really good. Claremont are asking some questions of you now.
Yep, we've got to stay hard in the contest, and hopefully I'll get a few more out the back.
Zach, thanks for your time. Go well.
Thanks.
Ball to the goal square, and it's locked up. He's a man of few words, more about action. That's the feel I get. They're the sort of vibes I get from Zach. I think he's a nurse, a practicing nurse. I might be wrong on that count, but tell you what, he's just reliable every day of the week when it comes to South Fremantle. This ball's bobbling. Eastland, kick, smothered. Ditto for Waterman, and a rush behind. There's some consternation amongst the South Fremantle defenders, but they did the right thing. Get it across, defend, and concede. But they have a buffer. It's 17 points, and that's what we found at half-time. So they've effectively remained at parity as we approach the 18-minute mark.
It's like they're defending for their lives just then. 3 or 4 smothers. They Claremont players weren't shy of having a ping at the goals. Couldn't get a clear shot away. Here is Noah Strong. Well tackled by Hardesty. Ball spills out. Socket forward. That was clever. Polson gets it inside 50. Dylan Main very clean below the knees. Hands it back to Polson with the outside of the boot. Can't finish it off. Oh, Dylan Main, outstanding football. Unfortunately, his teammate just couldn't quite convert it into a goal.
When you're clean like that below the knees and can give off that handball, wow, it makes a difference, doesn't it?
There's Kyle Russell. And I'm sure we'll see much more of him today, limping off with what appears to be an ankle issue. Mark taken by Turnbull. And another entry. This is a beautiful kick for Sloyth, who dropped the mark inexplicably. He pulls it back across his body. No mark taken there by Main. The Tigers able to repel. Musica searching for it at ground level. Or a little fumble. Could have been costly for his fellow debutant in Peace. Clearing kick. Alvarez put his body on the line. It spills out the back. Noah Strong out to Florenka. From 50 or thereabouts. She got some good purchase on it, but misses. The margin stretches beyond 3 goals.
South Fremantle's turn to enjoy a little bit of field position. Claremont been more damaging since late in the first quarter. Davis off half back down the line to Manuel. Used the ball beautifully. Now Martinez. He ran himself into trouble. Back towards Manuel. The diving tackle attempt there from South Fremantle, just to get a hand on the back of the shorts, affected the kick. That was a brilliant, desperate effort. And now South can control the football. Bletchenden. Oh, the kick's gone too wide. Out of bounds on the full. It was Turnbull again with that defensive pressure. Seen him more than happy to put his body on the line today. Callan England now. Loads up for Claremont. One Tiger up. That was Gowdy. Not much support when the ball hits the deck. Bolanews just blazed away and put this one out of bounds on the full as well. So a little bit wasteful coming out of the back line from the Dogs.
You'd like to think that they're going to try a different tactic next time, because that's been 2 or 3 times where the ball's gone out of bounds on that side. So start looking for something else.
Martinez and England. Little hand pass. Weston back to England. To the top of the goal square. Is there a marking target this time? Gowdy brings it to ground. Waterman crashing through. Can't find the handle. Parker picks up an important ground ball. Happy to take the tackle. Stoppage at the top of the goal square. The Tigers would love to sneak one right now.
Lots of players around this ball up. Can Claremont. And clearance. Gowdy. England may have been pushed in the back. In fact, it was Manuel who was pushed in the back. From a
Oh, they're going to reverse
goal
this as
scoring
well,
position. There's a bit happening there.
Ground.
Yeah, I think they've reversed it, have they?
Yeah.
Well, either way, there's going to be a melee perhaps or 2 picked out of that. Main Waring gets to his feet. And not for the first time in this quarter, they've given away a free kick. This is a terrible place to give it away. It was a definite free kick. What happened after that? Well,
Main Waring.
Main Waring coming through. So that's got to hurt. Bolton to the pocket. McQuilkin mops up. But, deja vu. Bolton dropped the mark on this occasion. Both teams really sloppy in the last couple of minutes. Sloyth gathers and restores some sanity, and they can run the ball on that outer side. Taken by Winder. Guides it to half forward. Paulson out of position. Ball comes to the ground. Kelly goes to ground. Paulson. Pressure was good by the Tigers. Martinez has it. And the Tigers able to build from half back.
Now, whistle off the play here as well. I think it's Martinez who's been interfered with. It's going to come back, though, to England. So it was relayed as such because it happened behind the footy. It happened just before England got the kick away. So Davis's jumpers seen better times. He needs the old stitching jumpers there, Skeet. The old lace-up.
I've seen some runway models with less on, so I'm not too concerned.
Now, another whistle here, well and truly outside the area where the footy is. It's the umpire in Claremont's attacking third of the ground that's paid a 50-metre penalty. Now no one stands the markers yet. Martinez is a little bit confused. There's Davis losing the last little part of his jumper. Hoping the WAFL they've got a spare or two. He kicks to a dangerous spot. Claremont players seem to get in the way of each other. Weston off to Bolton. What can he create? Towards full forward. Bailey Rogers was there. Bounce was too good for him. Salmeri hand passes directly to the line. The umpire says he was under pressure.
Gee whiz, that's a very lucky call. As Davis comes off. Win-win WAFL, of course. Great place to go to watch your local footy. Always a win. Make sure you get your tickets at waffle.com.au.
So Davis has come to the bench with his jumper open. Zach May-Waring's in the forward 50 with not much left of his either. It's like pre-season with the shirts off for the boys at the moment. Weston, high to the top of the goal square again. South have the extra numbers. Manuel was interfered with. He'll get a free kick. Now Claremont players, get out of there. Stay away. Don't give this one away. You can see there the arm around the waist, dragging him to ground.
Fist to the head.
Yep, you can take your pick there. So the kick that Manuel should have had for goal about 3 minutes ago, he will get now to bring this margin back to 13 points. He's going to take his 30 seconds to compose himself. Kick to goal at this end of the ground, right on the quarter-time siren. Kicked 5 goals for the season coming into today. And he pops this one through. The Tigers aren't done with yet.
Well, credit to Claremont for fighting their way back. I don't think any of us would have thought that they would be in this situation in the third quarter, especially after the first that they had. But, you know, great composure in front of goal there. And Manuel just slotting the goal through. The Maxis replay, we see Emmanuel's being held, gets a free kick and goes back and puts through a well-needed goal for Claremont, which puts them within 13 points.
7 goals for the season for Alex Manuel. This Tigers side has shown great character from the restart. Won by Turnbull. South Fremantle able to work it inside 50. Kelly, a high speculator, and that's just gone off to the right. Perhaps the ball to the top of the square might have been a wiser option. The margin quickly up to 14, but Claremont with the ball back in their control. I think even at three-quarter time, this would be something that Ash Prescott could say this could be one of our more famous wins against the Bulldogs.
Can turn your season around pretty quickly, can't it, if you can somehow get back from a 6-goal head start that they gave up. They've moved it to the wing again. Gowdy underneath the flight of the football once more. And getting it across the line, Salmeri. Claremont transitioning from fullback to half-forward pretty quickly. Scores around the grounds. Peel Thunder with a win over East Perth today by 16 points, and a tight one between the Lions and the Falcons. Just 5 points in that one early in the final quarter. So a big win for Peel. A couple of good scalps to start the season, East Fremantle and East Perth. And drop the game against Subiaco in between. Now some holding on. Half back for Claremont, it'll be a free kick. Noah Strom giving it away. Hardesty will be the recipient. Isn't too much doubt about that one. Hardesty doesn't have much on down the line just yet, so he's going to have to kick to a contest. He goes wide. Eastland and Branchy. Eastland worked his way to the front well. He's had a good game, Ollie Eastland, in his 100th game of WAFL footy. 32 hit-outs, 16 disposals. Bolton, long inside 50, didn't strike it well. It wobbles its way through. Manuel put the hands out as if he was held again there. No free kick. Now he's fallen on the footy. We'll get a stoppage. Good position for Claremont to see if they can create something now.
Unlucky.
Yeah, probably not a bad call. Sachs was the player trying not to infringe. Parker for the stoppage. Frederick, sidestep, needs support, gets it, but a little fumble though by Rogers. Gets it back, goes with the left and misses everything. Late goal would be enormous here for Claremont. Beautiful Saturday afternoon. Great to have your company for round 3 of the WAFL season. Strom, that was Zach with a fly. Bolton, the hand pass, and Parker turns on the Jets to get away and send it in the direction of Noah Strom, who couldn't take it. Main lost his footing. Hardesty to Weston. Hard up against the boundary. Should be coming back. Branchy camped underneath it on the wing to Ferreira. The steps and then goes short. Strom directing traffic, looking for something further afield. Just take something off the kick. Had too much on it there for Parker, who looks back with some regret. And a boundary throw-in is the result. Margin 14, closing in on 3/4 time. Fremantle Community Bank Oval.
So the Colts arriving. They've got the late game today. The lights for the under-18s boys. Eastland's kick smothered. Flashing through Musica. Left it behind though. Ferreira well tackled. You get a stoppage. Nicely done by Bryant. Another opportunity here. This time perhaps for South Fremantle to create something in their attacking half. Eastland wins it down nicely to English though. Off to Musica. Kicks to a 2-on-2 at half forward. Great chest mark. Taken by Bailey Rogers. Tries to get around the man on the mark and then change his mind, and the kick missed Felix Rogers, who then trying to make amends, has gone high on his opponent. Bailey Rogers would like that kick back.
I was going to say that he would.
He was looking, I thought, initially to go for home himself.
Might have been caught between the two ideas in the end. Did half of neither. Lewis Rayson going very wide, too wide. That'll skid away and go out of play for a boundary throw-in. As we edge towards 3/4 time, there can't be too long to go in the quarter. Claremont have won the 2nd quarter and the 3rd quarter at this point, but still trail by 14.
If they lose this match, they have only themselves to blame, I guess, in that first 15 to 20 minutes. As you said, coughing up 6 unanswered goals. It's a long way back in any form of footy. Parker in the air was claimed. Ball hacked out of bounds on the full by Florenka. And Eric Benning has the ball. He will have it at some point. Going into the car park. "30 minutes and then something." Decides to go defensively, which with the time on the clock perhaps didn't make sense, but they're trying to make the switch, and as it turns out, time expires. But this match certainly hasn't, because South Fremantle have led from the outset. Claremont trying to avoid a 0-3 start to the 2024 season. They have 30 minutes to right the wrongs.
I've been saying it for a while that the next goal in this game is pretty important. And that's the way Claremont have got to view it for the rest of this game. Parker gives it away to Florenka. It'll be South Fremantle going forward first. Is there a Strom down there that can take a mark? There's a hold. It's going South Fremantle's way. And it's Branchy who gets himself to his feet. The ruckman resting forward. He's going to get the first shot on goal in the all-important final quarter.
It's happened 3 times out of 4 quarters where South Fremantle have been able to go forward and get a really good look.
It was just a little hold of the back of the jumper. It was there. It was Benning. Now Branchy, his kicking's been interesting today, I'll say that. He's tumbled that one goalward and it floated to the right. He did a superb pass at one point that hit Zach Strom right between the eyes, but I think every other time Skeet, they've wobbled, they've floated, they've gone in all sorts of directions, and that one had a bit of everything.
That's like being told by people over the junior, I've got a good personality. That's nice. I thought you'd say it in a very gentle manner. Thank you. And I'm sure Branchy will go to work on his goal kicking. Ball in dispute inside the centre square. Rayson wins it. In turn, McQuilkin. Now Bletchendon goes with the left. Bounce will be difficult, although it's slapped on by Strom. That's Noah. Kelly's in desperate trouble. Hand pass searching for Florenka. Getting an important hand in there was Josh Howard, and it's going to be a throw. Had some jumper number changes, by the way, given Anthony Davis and Zach Mainwaring involved in some push and shove. So, and we'll try to make sure that doesn't confuse you in this last quarter.
They've dipped well and truly into the back of the reserves kit bag, I think. Number 58 and 68 for the two boys. Alvarez with a high kick to another high number in 63. Musica on debut. Couldn't take that one. Bailey Rogers gained some ground. Gowdy did enough to block it and keep it in front. The hand pass inside was quite brilliant. Musica collects. Kicks to half forward. They're setting things up here, the Tigers. This is Mainwaring in number 58. Awkward looking kick inboard. Finds Weston on the bounce. Off to Eastland. The Tigers go inside 50. Gowdy was there. Oh, high tackle. Yes. Going Claremont's way. And Musica burrowing in and under.
That was, I really liked his first game. He shows a bit. He's got pace. He's got skill. And he gets the chance to create a moment in his career that he'll remember.
On debut against the club that he began with. Went off and played a bit at North Fremantle over the last year or two. Back in the WAFL now with the Tigers. This will test him for distance. But wouldn't it give the Tigers some spark at the start of the last quarter? From right on the 50. He's made a good fist of it. He's got the distance. And they'll come from everywhere to celebrate. Tigers back within 9.
Bolognese just came through with just a slap across the shoulders, and that's what gave Musica this free kick, and he goes back, and it was probably right on the 50-metre mark that he kicks this goal, and Claremont really needed it, and didn't they celebrate well?
It's one of the nicer moments in footy when, whether it's the first game or a defender who hasn't kicked a goal in their career, it's really lovely to see.
The Chemist Warehouse replay here sees Bolognese just going slightly high on Musica, and Musica just goes back and puts the ball through, and just the double fist, just celebrates with his teammates. They all came running over towards him.
And it's music to the ears of all of his friends and family. I'm sure many of them here today to watch him enjoy that. Importantly, gets the margin back to 9. Will Rogers did the 360 off to England. He's got some exceptional pace, not great delivery inside 50, but Wes Love is on the end of a ball, and playing in front has paid dividends. And this big man has found himself with an opportunity to pull it back to 3. Joy Bolton just drifting around the back looking for a hand pass. Tough kick. Only 60 seconds ago was Musica who drew some high excitement amongst the Tigers. Off the left. Umpire making a fair bit of ground to the left-hand side. But you talk about those tight matches between these two clubs, Dave. Today is trending in that direction.
Absolutely. 8 points the margin. The Tigers haven't been this close since the opening minutes of the game. South kicked a goal in the very first minute. Dylan Main added a second one for the Dogs at the 5th minute mark. So this is as close as Claremont have been since then. South with the first 6 of the game. The Tigers have pretty much controlled things since then. Bolton out wide with his hand pass. Jasper Peace on debut. Into the pocket. Gowdy goes to ground. Clears his head. Dribbles away and over the boundary line for a throw in. And there is the Claremont coach's box. Ash Prescott, Kepler Bradley in there. Anthony Jones. Be pretty happy with the work they've done in the last 3 quarters or thereabouts. Now a whistle.
And now there's a
Claremont player down with cramp behind play.
That's a long way behind play to be stopped.
It's a strange one, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure why you should be stopping play for cramp. I mean, obviously, if it's at the stoppage.
Yeah, but that's 60 metres away. Very unusual. It's Jasper Peace, the debutant. He knows he's been in a game of WAFL League footy. Young man from Swanbourne Footy Club. Same club as Ollie Eastland, who's playing his 100th game. Jasper Peace playing his first. They'll need to manage him through the next 20 minutes or so. Gowdy wins it down in the ruck. Waterman a little fumble. It would be nice for the Tigers if he could pick it up cleanly. Branch's hand pass goes to ground. Creates a problem for Parker. He hands it off and it goes straight to Waterman. High kick to the top of the goal square. The Dogs are back. Bolognese Fist it through from behind. The Claremont side creep ever closer. 7 points.
They just keep increasing their pressure, Claremont, and especially around goal. They're looking very dangerous.
Linda on the end of some treatment, but no 50-metre penalty for Martinez. That's a dangerous ball. Turnbull had to stand and wait. Now he's got an issue. Gets the hand pass away. McQuilkin. Pressure by Claremont really ramping up. McQuilkin, just a hack kick. It was touched in transit as a result. Bourne has to dispose of it pretty quickly and does to Turnbull. Back inside to Branchy. Hand pass went behind his intended target in Rayson. Now Bolton. He flicks it in the direction of Eastland. Martinez dives on the footy. What's happened? Did he take legs out? Is it over the shoulder? It's going to be a Claremont ball, I suspect. No, South Fremantle. Let's have a look at that. Tip and shoulder. No?
I think it's Alvarez coming in here.
Looked like a bump to me, but the head went back, and umpires are very quick to react to that sight.
Had a couple of important free kicks today, South Fremantle. Having said that, Claremont, 5 of their goals have actually come from free kicks today. More than half of their goals. Florenka to the wing. Strong with an early bit of body work. And he stands strong to take the mark. Kick South's only goal of the third quarter. That was his 5th. A career best for him today. Chase Bourne now. Some strapping to the head from a cut earlier this afternoon. Go into the corridor. Bologneau. Slow, methodical build-up here from South Fremantle. Lead by 7 points. Got out to as much as 38. Their advantage. That's a strange kick. Picked out a target as if he was wearing red and white. Kieran Gowdy looking out in defence. He's called to play on. Just kicks for distance to the wing position. Maywearing up early. Ball floats over his head. Salmiri. Untidy hand pass. Creates a problem for Parker. He's good enough to get out of it. Did exceptionally well in the end. And then sends South deep inside attack. Bailey Rogers gets back. Relieving mark from the Sandover medalist of a few seasons ago. Finds Callan England, who's had a big second half. Good protection by Benning, by the way, in that last contest. Gowdy's going back with the flight. Was there a mark paid to Turley? Not according to the umpire. Gowdy then able to move and shake and give it to West Love. It's a little awkward and clunky as they go forward. Flipping the hand pass was Rogers. Double grabbing again was Gowdy across to Alvarez in the pocket. South able to repel. Salmiri, left footer. It's wide and it's going to be marked or out of bounds on the full. And Martinez has the footy. Still a ton of time left in this one. 7 points the margin. Almost the 10-minute mark. Martinez. They need a forward to stand up and take a big mark. Not on this occasion. That can't be paid to Branchy. Ball's cleared for South Fremantle. Pearson was up. Legend is there. Alvarez dishes it off to England. Now Martinez in tight confines. Gets it to Gowdy. Back to Martinez. He's running out of room and running out of patience from the field umpire. It was a tough ask. He was in a phone box and he couldn't quite extricate himself.
Really well worked here by South Freo just to keep the pressure on, and they used the boundary line as leverage as well so that they could just keep closing in on the ball carrier.
South on the ropes a little bit here. It's Claremont swinging some wild punches and not landing any. There's a dangerous tackle, free kick going the way of the Tigers. Eastland thrown to ground. Will the damn wall break pretty soon here for the Dogs' defence? Now the umpire has come in and have a quick chat with the 2 players involved.
Bear in mind, after that 6-goal surge, it's been 9 goals to 4 in favour of the Tigers.
It's definitely been their type of footy after a long delay. Eastland wheels around to the left, spears it in low. His love at the end, he can't take it. Fighting on at ground level, scrapped for the footy, had it for a moment and lost it. Great tackle applied by Maywearing once more. He's been excellent in that role so far this afternoon. And South Fremantle holding firm in defence for the moment at least. Branchy up against Gowdy. Ball bobbles around for a moment. Pearson is there. Gowdy gets a hand pass out. Waterman finds the handle eventually. Hand pass to the top of the goal square. Turley gives it away. That hand pass goes over the line from Parker. Umpire says deliberate. Well, they like those, the umpires. He had the call from the crowd in the pocket, waited for a while, gave the signal, and now Bailey Rogers. Just pretty good hands for the footy to be in if you're a Tigers fan right now. To get them back within a point, who would have believed that?
Had to be the free kick, though.
Yeah, had to. Hand pass out in front, either hoping to run onto it or go over. Either way, insufficient intent. Bailey Rogers, disposal number 24. Can't bend that one back. Might stay inside the field of play. Not anymore. Noah Strom helping in defence now. Knocks it over for a boundary throw-in. But again, the Tigers have got this locked in. They need a score, though.
Last quarter brought to you by Chemist Warehouse. Save more money every year on your prescriptions. Might send some upstairs to Todd Curley. Anxiety tablets might be the order of the day. Ball in dispute. Mainwaring turning, snapping and missing. The jumper number caught me off momentarily, but 58 almost became number 1 in terms of Claremont fans. Mainwaring unable to kick the goal, but it's back to a 6-point margin. Still less than halfway through this final quarter.
Might have been the best goal ever kicked by number 58 for Claremont. Can't remember too many 58s in their history. This kick into play finds Turley. South Fremantle soaking it up here, Nikki. Something's going to break either way, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. Otherwise, what if we have a draw?
Well,
it's happened twice before.
Tigers might take that given the 6-goal deficit they had halfway through the first quarter.
Definitely.
Right now,
Claremont are pressing.
It's almost like the ground's running downhill towards their goals. South are finding it impossible to get it out of there. They've, pleasingly for them, got it to the wing for a stoppage. But Claremont haven't been this close since the opening minute of the game.
WAFL Wonderland continues. It's the WAFL as we know it, but with a twist. Head to select matches between now and June, including today, of course, out at Mineral Resources Park, the Demons and the Swans. That game underway.
Bletchenden and Parker. South get it forward of halfway. Towards half forward. Spoil made by Hardesty. Is this the Bulldogs' chance to land a big blow? Great tackle from Benning. He's had some problems in defence today, but that tackle was timely. Martinez runs it a long, long way. Hand passes it off. Tigers go forward now. Alvarez towards Mainwaring. Oh, leaping in from the side. Timely mark, he's played on. That could be holding the ball. No free kick. Mainwaring wheels around, snaps it goalward. Hits the post. How was that not a free kick for holding the ball?
I have a feeling if it was a free kick, Mainwaring would have played on anyway.
Possibly.
But it definitely should have been a free kick.
They are swinging punches from everywhere. Hit the Tigers. They can't land one, though.
Just wonder whether the umpire was uncertain as to where the tackler came from, and maybe it would have been a 50-metre penalty if it's not holding the ball. Irrespective, game is on a knife's edge. Florenka. Martinez has been enormous. Eastland, looping ball. Will it sit for Bryant? Not quite. High contact again. They didn't receive too many free kicks earlier in the game, but this is to put them in front. And it's in good hands. Bailey Rogers, having missed one from the boundary, we threw the arm back, or the head back as well. A replay says he might have been a little fortunate.
It's been a strange one, hasn't it? Most of the controversial ones seem to have gone South Fremantle's way, and yet Claremont have kicked 5 goals from free kicks. This would be 6 out of 10.
That's the biggest margin of 38 points, 10 minutes into the second quarter. This to put Claremont in front midway through the last. Bailey Rogers, who broke Bulldogs' hearts last year at this venue. Can he do it again? The kick's drifting. It's drifting. And he's missed 2 opportunities. That one was oh so gettable.
5 behinds this quarter, Claremont. South haven't scored, but they still lead by 4 points. Crazy game of football. We're expecting a close one. We're expecting to be low scoring when we turned up today. That's the way these teams have played it. It's turned into low scoring and close. High tackle. Free kick. Musica. He'll be back next week, the debutant. He's played a superb game. Kicks this one to the top of the goal square. Waterman's deep. Off hands. Another behind. Rushed through. They've kicked 6 behinds in the quarter, Claremont. They need a goal, though, to take the lead.
Talk about edging their way towards parity. Back pocket. Turley. Oh, has he put this out on the full? He has. And Bailey Rogers gets another opportunity. This from, I suspect, outside his range. Like a traffic ward directing as he goes. As he laid this up, he's gone a little too deep. He's missed to the right. That kick I felt was going to be put to the top of the square. It wasn't. And it's death by 1,000 cuts for Claremont supporters at the moment. 2 points, the deficit, and they just can't find the target.
And they've had 12 inside 50 entries for a 1-goal 7.
The last
Claremont.
7 scores of the game, all behinds from the Tigers.
11 inside 50 entries, sorry.
Long and straight in the direction of Schloith. Can't mark, well tackled. Salmeri dives in on top of the football. He's tackled as well. Ball up at the front edge of the centre square for Claremont. Number 68. As Anthony Davis had his jumper ripped to shreds in the third quarter. And a couple of early rips in the first quarter in a scuffle, but it was totally destroyed in the third. Bolton lying on the ground. Ball comes back to him. He'll be balled up again.
Talk about some high jumper numbers. I think Malcolm Gregory Brown back in the day wore 1-0-0 in at least one game. The 100 jumper probably summed up Brownie pretty well with his persona.
If you gave people one guess, his name would be pretty close to the top of the list, wouldn't it? South Fremantle stalwart, of course. Cheering on the Bulldogs. Can they hang on here? Their lead is 2 points. It was as much as 38 points. Eastland, game number 100. Stolen away by Zach Strom. Here comes Winder. Needs to hit the target, and he does. Mark was dropped, though. Problems now for the Bulldogs. What can the Tigers create? Little hand pass from Weston went nowhere. Lots of red and white around. Parker. Normally pretty composed with ball in hand. Does very nicely. Kicks to the advantage of Florenka, and that's an excellent mark. Just what they needed. So many numbers behind the football. The mark gives them a chance to rush some numbers forward.
How often do you see a team attack, and then concede?
That's what the Claremont coaches box be thinking right now. Ball gets over the back. Noah Strom was leaping high. Frederick, Benning, standing still. No run at all from the Claremont defenders. And Davis just bombs it away. It's going to come back. Zach Strom, 5 goals by the midway point of the third quarter. Now he's playing behind the football. Pumps it long to the top of the goal square. Noah Strong waiting at the back. Hardesty under pressure, paddles. Doesn't really want to concede it behind. Boundary throw in suits South Fremantle anyway. The margin 2 points that remains.
That effort by Claremont just in the defensive 50, just transferring pressure to each other because nobody wanted to take responsibility to get the ball out. That might come back and bite them right here.
It's been past half an hour since South Fremantle scored a goal. Eastland straight down to Florenka. Unfortunately, the tackle was not bad by a Claremont player who gets to his feet now in Rogers. 2 threes going at it. We've hit the 20-minute mark. Eastland reaches over. Rogers' kick was smothered. Ferreira going nowhere. And what a strange last quarter. Claremont dominating, attacking, unable to kick a goal. And South Fremantle giving up a free kick here. We'll go back to Ollie Eastland. He wants a 50-metre penalty with the ball being just dropped. May well have an argument. What happened there? Irrespective, Claremont have maintained possession to Benning. Inside defensive 50. Some weary bodies out there. Who's got the legs to get them across the line? Martinez has been terrific. The hand pass. A little tricky there for Frederick, who was almost run down. But the Tigers are able to send it in the direction of Main Waring, who might be happy with the boundary throw, and he is hot on his tail with Salmeri. They have it at right half forward. As we check other venues, I mentioned Peel defeating the Royals. Subiaco have held on to defeat the Falcons by 4 points. And early stages at Mineral Resources Park with the Demons up against the Swans.
Close all around the WAFL this afternoon. This one has a next goal win type of a feel to it. Bolton gets Claremont inside 50. That's an outstanding grab. Molyneux getting back, one-on-one. If that ball hit the deck, there was every chance the Tigers could have fired a shot on goal. Now South happy to chip it around their defensive 50.
They look nervous to me, though. They're not confident with the ball in the hand in the defensive 50.
Sacks, the late inclusion for Donaldson. Kick was touched in flight. Tigers with a chance. Weston, high towards the top of the goal square. Love is down there. Ball bounces over the back. Polyneux rushes it through for a behind. We've got a 1-point ball game. That draw's getting closer and closer, Nikki. 8 consecutive behinds for Claremont.
Wow.
Pearson, kick-in duties. Which team will blink first? South Fremantle have been holding on for what seems like an eternity. Claremont have just not been able to find the killer blow. Long ball. Strong had the ball fisted away. Bolton at ground level. Strong goes to ground. He might have been pushed in the back. Ball squirts out to Martinez. His kick, not to the advantage of Musica. Going to ground. McQuilkin flipped out to England. Tackled well. Around the body. The kick to the top of the square. Bolts. In fact, it's Waterman there. And Rogers was the player desperately trying to find the footy. And it's a 1-point margin, with this being a pretty low-scoring last quarter, given the fact that Claremont have missed so many chances. Next Saturday, we'll get to see the Tigers again, this time against the Lions on 7 and 7+. Branchy knocks it down. Bolton. Will they get a score here? Mainwaring looking for a high contact. Umpire was very good. It's a stoppage.
South Fremantle will be very keen to get stoppage after stoppage and just make sure that the time gets wasted off the clock.
So many thrillers between these two clubs over the last 6 or 7 years, including the 2020 Grand Final, of course, at this venue. Turley sends it long out of the trouble zone for South Fremantle. Main wins a hard ball. Stolen, though, by Benning. Needs to get it back inside 50. Kicks high. Gowdy in the middle of the pack. 2 dogs up. Mark taken. Branchy, the ruckman, pushing back to take a timely saving mark. It won't be a long quarter. It's only been the 1 goal kick and a truckload of behinds by Claremont. Towards half-back they go. Weston does well. Through comes Hardesty, absorbs the tackle. Stoppage again.
Tigers just haven't been able to bring the ball to ground or find that tall marking target that they desperately require. Mind you, 9:15 shows you they had done enough to win this game, but with seconds ticking by, they trailed by a point. Hand pass came out to Martinez. Got it from Bryant. Fluky ball. Mainwaring, a fumble. They scrambled desperately. Salmeri's over it. Did he drag it back in? Umpire loath to play a free kick there. Weston says, what about me? And the stoppage at the 50. The draw's looming large given what we've seen in the past 15 minutes. Ball knocked to Parker. He tried to fend off. Sends it in the Bletchington direction. He might be happy for this to go over and out. And we tick up to 25 minutes with the Bulldogs clinging to a 1-point advantage.
Well, the Tigers have had South right on the ropes for about a quarter and a half here. But they just haven't been able to put the killer blow there. Bolton, tackled, loses the footy. Play on's the call. Kick goes backwards. Parker rises high. Was it 15? No. No mark paid. Clock stops with a ball up in the shadows, right forward pocket. Virtually every player on the ground inside the attacking 50 for Claremont. Virtually impossible to find some space here for the Tigers. Eastland and Branchy. Branchy, was he taken high? No. We'll get another stoppage. Umpire's whistles appear to have been put away now, Ski.
Now the question, Ash Prescott has to manufacture some space here to try and give his forwards, his mids, a chance to create a score, preferably a goal. Near the line, Salmeri is there. Bodies strewn near the boundary line.
Boundary throwing probably helps more than a ball up, doesn't it? At least gets it more closer to the corridor.
Absolutely. It'll be Branchy and Eastland. What can the 100 gamer do for Claremont as we approach full time? Branchy knocks it down. And another ball up the result. Frustratingly so if you're a Tiger supporter. They lose this, they're 0-3. They win this, suddenly their season looks a whole lot rosier. Another ball up. Franchi with the reach. Parker took them on. Could have been penalised. Rogers dispossessed. South desperate out of defence. Martinez laid the tackle. Mark dropped by Strong. Out the back. Little hand pass. Frederick. Siren. South Fremantle extraordinarily have won by a point. Short quarter, but high in drama. The Bulldogs home by a point. Claremont wasteful in front of goal. What an extraordinary game of WAFL footy.
Just remarkable, wasn't it, Sam?